Let us try again. Hey Neo. We are having some technical difficulties today. But I'm waiting for Ntokozo. Oh, there we go. Let's see. This is actually part 2. We had started, but then it got disconnected. Hi, Google. There we go. Finally.
Yes, finally. I'm so sorry about this.
Alright,
I'm not really chewed up with this stuff. So,
No,
yeah.
me too. It happens. Oh, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll take it. We'll kind of like continue from where we left off. Hi,
Mm-hmm.
hi. So guys, we had already started. This is part 2, and then we got disconnected.
So
So
sorry about that.
it's yeah. So let me just put my phone. Now my phone is acting funny here. Okay, cool. So I think let's just highlight what we spoke about, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Ish, let me tell this guy to just keep the noise down. We are crying that hey, this person.
So well, I can't even hear properly. Sorry, guys. My ears are dying. Let me just wait. Hi, Moitoy. Moitoy. Sorry if I mispronounce your name. Hello, welcome. Just waiting for Ntokozo to come back.
Okay, sorry about that.
Thank
It's
you.
fixed.
Thanks.
Ukachinguni, it's cold, eh? So
Hey,
it's
yeah.
grinding them.
No, I just wanted to let everyone that joined in now because they were not on the first chat. So basically, Untogozo, we were speaking about the importance of eating and it being very important for our wellness. And we've been speaking about Untogozo.
We were talking about the hydrogen concentration, which is pH value.
So we're speaking about acidity and alkaline foods.
Yes.
And what led us there, I just want to like sort of like string in from where we left off in the previous chat. So we figured
Okay.
out
So
important, huh?
we have already spoken about the relationship between food and wellness,
Mm-hmm.
which was the initial question. And
Mm-hmm.
then we've already spoken about some of the natural foods that already exist in our vicinity,
Mm-hmm.
like imbuya, which is well known as amaranth.
Mm-hmm.
We also have China, and also we touched base a bit on where this food can actually be accessible. Because I also get a lot of questions about this ukuthi manje lo kudla sikuthola kuphi, because we are here in Johannesburg and people are not prepared to actually go to the forest or actually go back home bayolanda lo kudla lokhu, or reconnect with their people at home. There's only a few who are actually willing to do that. So with that said,
I'm sorry,
I just
Ntokozo.
want to
Sorry. Ish, I wish we could just start off, but it's fine.
sure.
So the parts there, you were also telling us how you started your wellness journey. Can you just take us through that and just summarize a little bit? Kancane nje.
Mhm.
I'm just
Mm.
seeing. new faces here. So I just want them to kind of like string in, and it will help just for when I upload the video as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, me as a person, this strings back to where I come from. I'm that boy that comes from a village called Gwanongoma. In fact, Gwanongoma called Gwashisuti. And growing up in that village, I was always exposed to nature, being the forest. And then I left KZN and came into Joburg, lived in Joburg for the past, I think, 16, 17 years of my life. And I got into contact with Dr. Sebi through an infomercial that I actually saw on YouTube. And then I started watching his video. That was back in 2012, 2013, which is actually something that I have used as a base of information and as a source of information in as far as eating habits are possible. So I've always used that base, which is the African biomineral balance. And there's one thing that I'd like to actually highlight, which is that Dr. Sebi himself, he also came here into Africa to actually study about these plants. So he always says that Africa holds the answer. But I feel like a lot of us are not actually focused on the message that he's actually trying to portray. So I'm here to actually try and also project that message that he was also portraying, but from a perspective, yeah, like South Africa, because a lot of this message is now coming mostly from the US, which is our brothers and sisters who are in the US and also the UK and things like that. But with us here in South Africa, we're only starting to actually tap into it. So me through Isimilo, I'm actually trying to now help us to tap back into this and also just to pave a pathway for us to be able to go back to our natural ways of eating and living and also eventually get to that peaceful space that we all want.
Mm-mm. And you also mentioned to us that you are on this journey for peace.
True.
You know, can you just take us back there a little bit again?
So, Nkosazana asked me, what do I equate wellness to, or how would I define wellness? So my definition of wellness is peace, because when one is peaceful, one can easily render peace to others. And in order for us to be peaceful, we can not only focus on the spiritual aspect of being peaceful, but we need to focus on both levels of being peaceful. The body needs to be peaceful so that we can also be able to be peaceful internally. So this journey or this work is part of that work that actually helps people to go back to that peaceful space. So in most cases, that peaceful space happens to be that boy child or that girl child that exists in each and every one of us today, and we are always forced to act in a matured manner and this, that, and the other. But the truth of the matter is that if you know truth and you live truth, you don't have to succumb to certain ideologies and philosophies and things that actually make you feel uncomfortable. Because the minute you feel uncomfortable, then the peace in your body or in yourself would now be out of balance. So it's very important to always maintain balance with our true selves. So I always say it's very also important to actually listen to that voice that exists in us. And that voice will always lead you to a peaceful space, which is that voice of truth. So yes, yeah.
Mm. And I also just want to re-highlight this because I thought it was really important on that when you are peaceful, when I am peaceful, it's not just that I just want to be peaceful, but also to filter that peace into our surroundings, into our communities, into our families and our friends, you know, just to be also be that torch. So going back into wellness, not just being an individualistic thing, but also being a collective wellness,
Mm-hmm.
broader term into under that umbrella that wellness is also actually so important to put it under collective wellness, because it's not just for me. It's not just me going on a retreating.
Yes,
It's not just for
true.
me self-caring just because, yes, definitely that plays a big role, but on a grander scale as well, when my community is well, I'm also well. We are all well. When I'm well, my community is also well. So I also feel like just being on that wellness journey is also just in, being that light as well, being that torch carrier, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So we also spoke about that on the first part. And I've just moved, Dreadlock Doggy. I've just moved back to my mother's home in KZN, and she cooks the most natural vegan meals. She always reminds me that this is how our people always are. Meat was mainly for ceremonies. Yeah.
Very true. Truly. I love this sister, because she's confirming. This is what this is what I always say, to say, like, if we go back home and then we ask Abokoko, because we still have Abokoko who are about 100 years old and they still do everything on their own when you go back home. That's where you get to actually now reconnect and confirm what this information that is coming with Dr. Sebi is actually trying to send us back to. That is what he was always saying, to say we need to go back to ourselves. We need to go back to the forest. We're not saying everyone should move back home. If you can, that's the best thing you can do for yourself. You get what I mean? But it's something that you should know why you are doing it. Some people are doing it for money, which is still okay. Some people are doing it because they know the peace that they will get, or that comes with actually moving into such a space. And
Mm.
you touched base on the fact of land. We do have land. We have abundance of land. It's
Oh,
just
oh,
that we don't have access to it here in the urban space. But when you go back home, all you need to do, as long as uyingane yakuleyo ndawo, all you need to do is just to ask the relevant people, where can I find the king nominduna yendawo, and then tell the person what your plans are about the place. You know,
mm.
that's where we are now reconnecting with our communities, because they too, they need our help. I was back home in KZN now, khona manje March, in the beginning of this whole Corona thing. So when I got there, what I always notice is that my people in the village, abantu engikhule nabo, most of them, they have this yearning urge to come to Joburg, the city of lights, this, that, and the other. But I always try to remind them, okay, but you are living everything here. Like, some of them have cows, some of them have intsimi, but intsimi zakhona azisebenzi. So we are the ones that should go back and actually remind them, to say, actually, guys, you've got this, that, and the other. We can use this stuff. We have the brains. We don't have the land like all. But we have the brains. Most of us have access to that little amount of money that we can be able to put together and then start creating crop production in the rural space, producing natural crops that already exist in that space. We don't have to go and get crops because I've been actually learning and studying the forests. And in the forest, there's a lot of crops and there's a lot of plants that we are actually overlooking. We're trying to go and buy your burdock from America because it's an American plant. But we now need to come back to our plants and actually look for the plants that have the active compounds that we need in our bodies. And then we now are able to now recreate this industry that is being created in the US by the black folk. Because healing is something that we understand. You understand? But mostly it's something that you, sisters, should understand the most, because nurturing is a feminine aspect of life. Me as a male, I can have all this information about these plants doing that, that, and the other, but you sisters have the ability to nurture life. So if we actually come together and give you sisters the platform to actually be in charge of this healing, because healing needs a female. You get what I mean? And that's what I find in most cases, is that in spaces of healing, it's mostly males that are actually trying to dominate the space. But there's also abo sisters who are not speaking out the way they should, or actually correcting abo puti where they actually making mistakes, because we're living in a patriarchal world. It's understood. But we need to change all those ideologies now and go back to the original one, which is not belonging to any individual, not controlled by any individual, but it's controlled by nature itself. It's a natural energy that is driving all of us to actually be able to address all these ailments that are actually putting us in a space of disease.
And you mentioned also we don't have to rely on like Iberdog from like the US. Was what just actually sparked what I just like read. I just came into a realization when you said that it only makes sense to heal with what is in our land, you know, because it vibrates closer to us, as I mean, as we also said earlier, Wuti, nature, we are nature, nature is part of us, and we just need to clarify that our DNA and cleanse so that we reconnect with that natural aspects of ourselves. So it only makes sense to actually utilize the crops here and the herbs here instead of getting them that side.
True.
Because I think they would vibrate on a higher frequency in that way.
True.
And then speaking of that, you also said you spoke about George. Who's that gentleman you spoke about who just manufactures ama beans and
he made
what's his name again?
Gregor Mendel.
Gregor Mendel. Can you just take us through Gregor Mendel again?
So Gregor Mendel is a Benedictine priest from England. Anyone who is in industrial agriculture, they would know something about him, because he is known to be the best or the initiator of hybridization of peas and beans, all sorts of beans that you can think of that are mostly in the market, especially starch-based ones. He made them. He was the individual that actually created all these things. I don't know what was the motive behind it. Maybe they wanted to create them for commercial gain, because these crops are easy to grow. However, when you have to now consume them, you have to cook them for ages, like 4 hours. You understand? So that you can get to the final product. To show that this thing is close to plastic. They're making us eat plastics, these people, because starch is plastic. And there's George Washington Carver as well. He was also deep in agriculture. He actually used the soybean, the one that we all revere as one of the good sources of nutrition. By many nutritionalists, they would say you need to go to soy milk. But George Washington Carver used the soybean to make plastics. So if George Washington Carver was using this very bean to make plastics, then now we go to that as a source of nutrition. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, because I cannot eat plastics. You get what I mean? And when it gets into your body, it causes problems, because it robs you of moisture in the body. It's not. The stomach is not able to digest the soybean. And scientists would know about this. Because even when you do check the pH is lower than 7, which is acid. That's another proof. And it does not grow naturally. I want anyone to show me a natural sugar bean plant. That I would love to see. You see? Because if something is natural, then in the forest, there must be a form of it. You get? So when you go to the forest, you find your marula plant. Yes, it's there. You find your fig tree. Yes, it's there. But the fig trees that we have here in the city are grafted For what? For commercial gains. They have to make sure that they have more crops to actually sell, because there are people who sell just plants that have been just grafted for them to be sold and transplanted and things like that. So we are now forced to look back if we really want to get away. But it's also very important for us to understand, Uguti, this is not something that you jump into. It differs for all of us. Some of us, me, I was lucky because I think I was ready to do this by the time the information came to me. Because I was always questioning things. I disagree with everyone. You know, and then when the information came, it was easy for me to take it and run with it. You get, but for some people, they would actually start to question it first before they could accept it, and that's very much understood. That is why Dr. Sebi created.
But we need to question first, you know, and
true,
yes, and you know, experiments on our own bodies and feel over time, and then yeah.
That's what we need to do, well. So that is why there is a nutritional guide. So the nutritional guide is made to make it simple for people when they go to do shopping. Then they know, okay, these are the least detrimental things that I can eat, which are available in the market. So this is that works as some kind of vehicle to actually help us to actually pass over to this way of living. Now, for those of us who have now been able to actually move over, it's our duty to prepare a place for those who are still coming. Because there's a lot of people who want to change their lifestyle. Because no one loves being sick, you know? And another thing that I forgot to mention, sorry?
Sometimes we all want to thrive the way we meant to thrive, the way, you know.
Yes, yes.
The way we're born to.
I was exposed to knowing about different illnesses when I was working as a call center agent. I was selling life insurance. So in selling life insurance, you have to ask people about their medical history. I would speak to different types of people who are earning $1 million in a month to people who are earning just 500 in a month. That's when I realized that a lot of people, number one, who have a lot of money, they are sick. They have a lot of sicknesses that some of them I don't even know what they are, but they just give you this big word. And then when you look at our way of looking at sickness, we don't categorize sicknesses into different sicknesses. No, there's only one disease, just like Dr. Sebi says, just like I have always known. If I'm right, but no, when you get what I mean? But when you look at the essence of inyongo itself, they are referring to the same mucus that Dr. Sebi is talking about that has accumulated in the body. So it's just that Dr. Sebi came with the scientific understanding of this inyongo, or the same mucus, which has broken down in the body, causing different manifestations of diseases. Then we need to understand it from an African perspective too. Using common sense, you cleanse the body of this very same inyongo. And that's what we have always understood. Hence, even the very first person that they refer to as the father of medicine, Hippocrates, he came here into Africa, he studied how we lived, and he realized that we never got sick. And we never had hospitals, we never had any supermarkets, we never had any schools, no churches, all of this stuff. We never had them until there was an advent of Egypt, which was the unification of different cultures coming together to create what? A hybrid culture which thrives today. You get what I mean? So Umdali, when creator or creation created things, it created these different species to thrive in different environments. You get? So you'd never get a gorilla in Alaska, for instance, because it's cold.
Mm.
It's very cold, just like us. There are
Yeah.
certain places that you know, I'll never go there. Come on. Why? Because that's why we call ourselves the children of the sun.
Mm.
We live in the equatorial region of the planet, which is a tropical region, where
Mm.
there's a lot of trees. It's warm, you know. In places where it's cold, you only find a few of us.
Mm.
You get what I mean? So we always have to look at nature as our mother, and
Mm.
we are the replica of that,
Mm.
because everything that exists in our human body exists in nature. Nature
Mm.
has approximately about 102 minerals. So the very same amount of minerals exists in the human body. And the ones that are in nature, they are alkaline. Those are the
Mm.
natural ones that we need to go and look for now. But back in
Mm.
the day, we didn't need to know all of these alkaline things, all of the pH values and things like that,
Mm.
because we were living according to the dictates of
Mm.
life itself
Mm.
until we were removed from that and
Mm.
made used to this urban way of living, which is
Mm.
something that we have all accepted. Now we need to now create ways to make sure that even though you are still in this urban space, at least you can eat healthy to keep yourself fit and not live in a state of disease. Because a
Mm.
lot of our people now are suffering from heart diseases, they're suffering from diabetes, they're suffering from what is this? They're getting strokes every now and then. They're suffering from arthritis. Umuntu by the time makafika ku-55 sekaqala ukukhala ngeqolo, ukhala ngalokhu, ukhala ngalokhu, but you only 55, Joe.
Hey.
You know? But mina
Mm.
mangibheka, when I look at my lineage, ukhokho wami died at the age of 98. She had
Mm.
no diabetes, no nothing. She slept at night, in the morning, but she didn't wake up. No
Mm.
disease, no
Mm.
suffering. That's
Mm.
how we are supposed to transition. But
Mm.
today, many of us die because of disease, and then they consider that as a natural cause of death, which is not
Mm.
true. Dying of disease is not a natural thing
Mm.
to us,
Mm.
because we were never a sick people. We were
Mm.
made sick. We were the ones who were violated. Now, when you speak like that, you usuthinta ama-cons, you know. So unyathela ama-cons wabantu. But it's the truth that has to come out there. And I feel this information is very much important for our people to actually get access to, because
Mm.
our people are the ones that are found swallowing everything. Who can
Mm.
lie? Everything
Mm.
is sitshelwayo by the Western world. We want to accept, accept, accept,
Mm. Market.
forgetting to look deeper.
Mm.
you know. And marketing, on the other hand, we know. So, but there's always a balance in everything. In the same marketing, we can use the same marketing for good. It's just that some people use it to promote things that are actually hurting to the
Mm.
body. So we can use the same marketing to now promote things that are actually
Definitely.
building, you know.
Definitely. The marketing right now is really killing us, and also just putting such a high price tag on wellness as well. Wellness is meant to be this very expensive thing. Eating what is expensive, and taking care of yourself is expensive. It's not
Mm-hmm.
expensive, waking up and just connecting and centering yourself, waking up and, basking in the sun, drinking water. There's no price. Things that
It's
make
free.
to your well-being are free and they're accessible. Zikala ngawe,
Mm-hmm.
So as well, ukuthi we still need to unlearn a lot of things, and cleanse and clear so that we are better able to listen to our bodies and our intuition in terms of what our body needs and wants without there's no price tag to that.
Mm-hmm. That's
you know,
true.
Aiki price
That's
tag. So I wanted to ask as well. So um, what would you advise someone who wants to start eating high vibrational food but doesn't know how to start, or just wants to start changing their eating habits? How can we start? You
Oh no,
know, how
no.
uh, okay. Woo, today the technical difficulties bakwethu. Hey. Okay. Um in the first part, it was about to get interesting, and then we are facing technical difficulties today. Oh no. Okay. Hi guys. You guys caught the end of the stick. We're still in conversation, but namhlanje it doesn't seem network doesn't seem to be in our favor. Let me just wait for Ntokozo. Ntokozo was just about to tell us or advise us about how to start if we want to start eating high vibrational food. How do we start? And just like cleansing and eating alkaline foods, and without it being expensive, of course, and the accessibility. And yeah, but no, Ntokozo is not here. Oh, okay. Oh well, it is what it is, I suppose. Today was just one of those days, and it's okay. We try again, better days. Grateful for all that was shared today, and we shall continue. Definitely want to continue this conversation with Ntokozo, maybe in person, and just continue with the series in that way as well, in person. Yeah, it was Rachel, yo, Rach, Manu Urek, RAC. Sorry for mispronouncing your name. But yeah, we will definitely have another part. But I think no, this is it for today. We tried, and it's okay. We did our best. We leave the rest. Yeah. All right, guys. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.